Hello, everyone, and welcome to the New View podcast. My name is Mac.
And my name is Megan.
Come along with us as we dive into the world of competitive Irish dancing and beyond,
sharing perspectives, developing community, and learning from each other.
We hope you enjoy. Welcome back to another episode of New View. Today I am flying solo, but I'm really excited to welcome a very special guest, Kristen Pietersma, to the show. And many of you will probably already know that Kristen and I are quite good friends already. We've danced together for a while now, but I think Kristen has a very inspirational outlook on dancing, and I feel really lucky to be her friend and to have shared some cool times in dance. So I'm excited for her to share her story a little bit with you guys on New View. So I was thinking maybe Kristen, I already obviously kind of know quite a bit of your dancing story. But could you give everybody sort of like a summary or like backstory, I guess, of your journey in dance up till now? Also, by the way, everybody, this is Charlie, if she makes a appearance.
Okay. I started when I was 4, almost 5, with the Irwin School in Calgary. That was kind of like that's still most of my dance career actually. But I was never like the kid who like picked it up like the easiest or like the like total like star in the class. Um, but I don't know, I just loved like all sports, and I just especially loved like being in dance. And um I think a couple years into dancing, I won like the most promising dancer or whatever. And I was kind of like, oh, like this doesn't make any sense because there's kids that are like my age who are like doing better than me or whatever. But obviously the teachers just saw something, I don't know, and I stuck with it. I just loved it. And I danced with Irwin for 10 years and like qualified for a couple worlds and like recalled at the North Americans. And then over COVID, I think I had been losing motivation, and I think I don't know, our school in the beginning of 2021, it shut down and we merged with Blakey O'Brien, or some of our teachers came over to Blakey O'Brien, and we were still kind of given the option of where to go. And I was just kind of like, the most important thing to me was like where my friends went, I guess. But we all ended up going to Blakey O'Brien. That was really good. I think that was like the part of my dance career where I danced with Irwin was probably the best thing for that era. And then dancing at Blakey was the best thing for this era. So that was really good.
Oh, that's a nice way of putting it. I really like the way you just put that because I think that's like really nice to acknowledge like where you came from and that like certain, environments are like the right thing for a right time. And like that doesn't mean like an evolution can't also be like a good thing for what you need in that time. Yeah, that's cool. That's a cool way of putting that.
Yeah, and I definitely didn't see it that way. Like when we first found out, it was like a little bit of a shock. And it was like, it was totally new. It was like learning how to dance again and like being around all these new people. But I don't know, I think kind of with all dancers, I kind of thrived with that. Like I feel like all of it, everyone who dances has like, we're all like competitive. We all like to show off. So like being in front of new teachers and new peers, and like definitely the first class that you were there, Mac, I was all like intimidated. But,
And then that probably was very short-lived when you actually got to know him and you're like,
yeah, I'm like,
"This
why
girl."
was but yeah, like I feel like just that like drive and like that like want to show off, like not like show off like I'm better than you, but just like show off what I can do. And like I was probably a little bit in over my head, like learning. I think I learned your Davis in the first few months of being there. She was like, what is this kid doing? Um, but like just a bunch of things. But it was like a good push. And I think that's kind of been my story ever since, is that like I just keep getting pushed by like new people, or just like now that competitions are happening again, like obviously new competition, and new people to see me dance. And like I always just want to show up my best, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like well, I have a question about that whole transition and everything, and I want to come back to that. But I mean, I also just want to acknowledge like, and it's been so cool to like become your good friend and like to have gotten to share these like competitive experiences and these training experiences together and just like, I don't know, be able to bounce ideas off each other and whatever. But it's been like such a cool privilege for me to get to see you like really achieve some big things in dancing that like tell me if it's fair to say this, but like I don't know that you ever necessarily had those aspirations until maybe more recently, and then you were like,
Mhm.
whoa, I'm like achieving like really big things.
Yeah.
I don't know, like okay, you've been like third at the All Ireland, like top five at the Nationals, like multiple times over, like Oireachtas champion. Like what else am I like you've had these like incredible accomplishments. So like I just wanted to acknowledge that because like that's been really cool to get to witness you like achieving
Yeah.
those things.
Yeah, I think my story is a little bit like different. I know from yours, you were kind of just like, I want to be a world champion, like from day one. And that was like, you kind of had like a ladder of goals along the way.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I think at one point my end goal would have been like a recall at the Worlds. And then like I was 17 when I got that. And I was like, oh, well, now I want a world medal. And I was like,
Mm.
oh, well, now I want this. And like you kind of just like get hungry for the next thing, like as time goes on, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah. That's interesting how that sort of can happen. And it definitely ties into, I think, like how expectations play into our experiences because, like, yeah, we do have different sort of stories when it comes to that. Like, I don't know what it was for whatever reason. Like, when I was young, I got this idea that I wanted to achieve this certain thing. And so, yeah, I was a bit different in that. Like, I always had that in my field of view. But then I also think for you, like, there's good things and bad things about like the way you've experienced it in the sense of like, I don't know, like it's great to achieve something that you're like, whoa, I didn't like, oh, I achieved that thing
Mhm.
that was kind of my big end goal, but then you kind of realize like, oh, actually I could expect even more of myself, which I
Mhm.
think is awesome.
Yeah.
But then it's kind of interesting how like there's always something more that
Yeah.
you
So
could
it's like when do I when
yeah,
do I draw
like
the
when are
line?
you satisfied? Like when
Yeah.
and that's a really interesting topic to me because I think at the end of the day tell me your thoughts on this, but like at the end of the day, like whether you had a specific goal in mind from the very start or you experienced it more like you did, like at the end of the day, it's not a result that's really going to be what makes you feel quote unquote satisfied
Mhm.
or like that you'll be at peace now and you can just,
Yeah.
whatever. I
There's not
think
like one goal that just makes it like, okay, got it.
yeah, it's more like even though before achieving that thing you think that oh that'll be what makes me feel like good with
Yeah,
all
like
of
everything
this.
just come together if
Yeah.
I just get this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it like it has to this satisfaction has to come like internally, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Interesting topic. I don't know. I do want to go back to I don't know if you can remember, but like back to that time of transition, like going from Irwin to Blakey and like there was so many different things at play. Um, but like I definitely have noticed that in you from the very start, and I've only seen it grow is like what you were speaking to is like you embrace being pushed.
Mhm.
Um, but was there ever like a distinct moment where you like had to make that choice of like, no, I'm gonna embrace this opportunity rather than like be upset by it or like wish it wasn't happening? And then has it been like a conscious approach ever since then to like choose to always embrace those things that push you?
Yeah. I think probably ever since the merge, there's been quite a few more moments like that. Not to say I wasn't pushed before,
Yeah.
but it was a little bit of like, oh, like I'm good at this, so I'll stick with like what I'm good at. And at Blakey, it's like, no, you're gonna do all these new things and you're gonna get good at it. And like that was it was hard for me to like wrap my brain around that and like also just having all these new teachers and like yeah, like I said, it was like relearning how to dance basically. It was
Mm,
like, okay, I have like the fundamentals and like I know how to do like a treble or like a skip 2-3 or something, but like actually even just the way you do that is like different with different style, different like technique, different ways you think of it. And I don't know, like I feel like it's always just been like I've really had to consciously keep an open mind and be like, well, this might be different than like what I'm used to, but like my teachers, they do they know what's best for me and they're seeing the full picture of like I can if I can do it. Like they're not going to tell me to do something that they know I'm never going to be able to do. So, like I don't know, just keeping an open mind with
yeah.
new steps, new styles and everything.
Do you feel like you have to sort of, um, I guess like coach yourself through moments like that sometimes? Like, I don't know. I definitely remember going into privates, like, and this was like all through my dance career, where like I'd go in and maybe I went in being like, no, I'm going to be open-minded about this. I'm gonna like I don't know, just like embrace whatever is
Mhm.
offered to me. But then I would get into the private and then I would, just depending on the day or like whatever it was, I could see myself almost like shut down or like start to say like I can't do that or like
Yeah.
whatever. And I think like that's a real mark of maturity as a dancer when you start to be able to like see yourself doing that and then like coach yourself otherwise. Like, do you
Yeah.
feel like you've sort of developed that or like how have you developed that if you have?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I feel like I've developed that over necessity. Like, a lot of like changes done for the better, but like super last minute. Like, I feel like a fair amount of people know this, but I had been practicing a different set all last like fall, winter until a couple weeks before the All Ireland.
Mm,
And I had a private, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm doing this new set. And like my teacher wouldn't give it to me if she didn't like trust that like it wouldn't be better than what I had before, like
yeah.
by the time it has to be on stage.
Hmm.
So that was like a big like whoa, like obviously there's you want to have some resistance to that. Like the no is like the easy, just like no, I don't want to do that. No, there's like a million reasons why I can't, but it's like you kind of have to dig for the this is why I can. Like
Yeah.
obviously there's some reason I can. Like there's some reason she's trusting me with this. I have to kind of trust her back
Ooh,
with
that
like
kind of just gave me chills actually. I really like that. No, I love that. Like, it would be easier to just say no. Like,
Mhm,
but and I think that kind of reminds me of what we chatted about with Harlow is like sometimes it has to be enough to trust that like what someone else sees is really there and what's really possible and like you have to trust that maybe you can't see,
mhm,
right? And like that's
totally.
really scary.
Yeah.
Like that's like the trust fall or whatever.
Yeah.
Like you have to trust that they're there. Like you can't see them and like
Mhm,
maybe you can't see your own potential to like do a brand new set or whatever, but like like obviously somebody else has some reason to believe or, think that you can do it and like pull it off successfully, which you did.
yeah.
So like that was really cool. And I mean, also like I just want to point out like you are very, very good at picking up steps. Like I don't know that I've met anyone who can like pick something up so fast from watching it. Like I used to think that I was pretty
You
good at
are good
it.
at
No,
it.
like genuinely, I'm not like compared to you, it's like you like smell it and then know it or something. Like, how did this girl like know this stuff already? But no, like that's pretty cool, and I love that about getting to dance with you, and like I think it's been just for me, for what it's worth, like it's been so cool for me. Like it gave me a whole new lease on life, like getting to dance with somebody like you who's like so I've always found that about you. So willing to like embrace adversity or like, just maybe not even embrace it, but like tackle it head on instead of like burying your head in the sand or whatever. Like I really do admire that about you. And like that's why I choose to surround myself with people like you because I'm like, I want to be more like that. Um, but like I guess speaking of adversity too, like you've had your fair share of like injuries and just like, tough results or like
Mhm.
whatever. Like how do you think you've been able to like, I guess, get through those things and come out the other side like more knowledgeable or stronger or more capable? And maybe if you have like a specific story or like time when you did that, that would be good.
I don't know.
I can think of a few if you need help.
Okay. You can share. Um, I don't know. I think it's kind of just like whether it's an injury or like managing dance schedule with school or like there was the All Ireland like 2 years ago. I had like three of my four midterms in the time where I'd be gone. So I
Yeah.
had to reschedule them. I had them all on the day I got back. It was truly awful, but I was like, this is what I need to do. And like if I want to like put my like whole heart into like what I want to achieve at the Worlds and like not even achieve like results wise, but like how I want to be dancing and how I want to be prepared like physically and mentally for the Worlds. I was like, okay, well, this is something that I feel like is important for me to do, and I'm just gonna like do what it takes to have that.
Yeah.
And in terms of like injuries, like I definitely have had my fair share of every dancer has.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. It's like this is I need to just do what I need to do to like feel how I want to feel, which is not injured. So like like take your rest. And I mean, I'm the first to know, like not really do that at first, but
Yeah.
like it is when you're like fighting yourself and you feel like you don't want to rest. It is kind of just telling yourself like this is actually what's best for me. And like sometimes I feel like I'm like everyone's looking from the outside, like it's not like, oh, I'm just like being lazy or whatever. It's like, no, I actually just have to like tune that out and know what's like best for me
Yeah.
there to like, yeah, come out the other side like how I want to be. So it's
Hmm.
like just how are you getting from where you are to like through that thing,
Yeah,
making a plan.
definitely. And do you feel like you look back on those, not that like we should be like dwelling on past experiences or whatever, but like do you ever find yourself when you're in like a new present challenging moment or whatever, do you think back to some of those times when you're like, oh, okay, remember when I got through this thing? Or like do you ever consciously like draw on those things, or do you think it just kind of like becomes second nature because of those experiences?
Like a bit of both. Like I definitely, it doesn't like leave you like what you've gone
Yeah.
through in the past, like different injuries and like I mean a school like changing schools, which I think it like a lot of people have that as part of their story, like either moving schools or like merging or
Hmm.
something like that.
Yeah.
And like big changes like that, or even like life changes, like starting high school, starting university and managing that with dance. Like
Yeah.
I took a gap year out of high school, so I was like from dancing and like only dancing to okay, now I'm in university and like I wasn't even in school last year and now I'm in like a very demanding university course. Like, how do I manage this with dance? Like, this is a new thing. And it's like, okay, I got through that. Like, I can
Yeah.
manage this next thing or I don't know.
Totally. No, I think that's cool. And like again, just it's I'm lucky I get to like observe these things, but like I feel like yeah, it's just been so interesting kind of meeting you when I did and then like knowing you up to this point. It's like, oh, like the Kristen that I met at the tail end of COVID is still the same Kristen now, but like I see like all these other skills and abilities and like things that you've developed over the course of that time. And sometimes like you probably don't feel it because you're the one like living in it, like you're
Mhm.
inside of it, but like other people around you get to witness it. And it's like, I think that's really cool. And I don't know. I think it's special to like take a moment and acknowledge like what dancing like provides us these opportunities
Mhm.
to like become better versions of ourselves and whatever, but I don't know. Okay, I have another couple of questions. So this is maybe like just a general whatever question, but I'm curious like what is your favorite part about dancing? Like if you had to narrow it down.
Um, I love like learning and making up steps and just
Yeah.
like choreography, like different choreography and like figuring out like a different move that like no one's doing right now. And it's like, oh, like I get to feel like really cool like doing this.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe that's why I'm like I'm really good at picking up steps just because like I love it. And like
Yeah.
we I've always had like really intense like workshops, especially at Irwin. We like were jam-packed choreography in like a couple days. And we
Hmm.
got like every single new dance. And it was like get it as fast as you can, and then we like move on. And
Hmm.
so it was kind of like out of survival. You just learn to like pick up steps and like I lived for those.
Yeah.
Like I just love learning new stuff and like I love learning everyone else's sets and everything. Like even like first few months at Blakey, I wanted to learn your set and
Yeah.
Rochelle's set and
Yeah.
I'd learned a bunch of sets.
Yeah. I remember you asked me for the video of it. I'm like, this girl wants a video of this? Like, okay, I guess. Good luck. I should have just offered to go to the studio with you and do it, but we have since then, I'm sure. But um, do you think, and maybe this is hard for you to answer, but do you think like learning steps is a skill that you can get better at?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so too. And I feel like when you're in the groove of doing it, like when it's a muscle that you've like been exercising, it's definitely easier than like if you haven't learned to step in a while,
Yeah.
it's definitely harder. And I think that can be discouraging for people, but I think
Yeah. And it definitely comes easier to some people naturally. And like I'm
totally.
lucky that that was one thing that came easily to me. Like I had the worst arms and dead straight feet, but I could pick up a step. Um, and that was like pretty like even like in prelim and whatever. Like I was like, yeah, I get this. Um, but yeah, like I think a natural like sense of rhythm, but also just the more you do it, the more you like train that and like you kind of just learn to do it
Yeah.
when you have to. And
Yeah.
like you learn so many steps, you eventually like, oh, this is how I like put this together in my head.
Totally. Okay, I'm having another random weird thought, and it's probably like, I don't know, out in the ether. It's a weird thought, but I'm just pulling it in. So I've heard like two kind of sides of this one idea is like oftentimes I feel like we're told like I don't know, like consciously seek out the things, or not seek out, but like recognize the things that you're not good at and like that's what you should work on. Like in a
Mhm.
dancing context, for example,
Yeah.
like, you know, let's say you don't have, and I think like this is an interesting thing to, and I don't think there's like a right answer to this, but like let's say you have, straighter feet. It's like, okay, well, you should, and let's say you have straight feet and great rhythm. Okay, well, like maybe don't spend your whole practice working on your rhythm, like if
Hmm.
that's something that comes naturally to you. Um, but like dedicate more energy to turning your feet out so you can sort of like become a more well-rounded
Yeah.
dancer. Um, but then I've also heard in a dancing context and a non-dancing context, like, we should be playing to our strengths, like play up to the
Yeah.
things that you are good at. So it's like that's kind of an interesting thing to think about is like how do you balance those two approaches though
Hmm.
as well? Like how do you I guess it's something we're always just constantly like feeling out and trying to like do better with. But like
Yeah.
for you, you were saying like good natural rhythm, good at picking up steps, like you're quite athletic, but then like the foot placement isn't like
You know
necessarily
more than anyone.
no. But like we no, but like we all have our strengths and our things that we need to like work more on. So like
Hmm.
as a more senior dancer, like what advice do you think you would give to younger dancers on like how to be the best they can be like by playing to their strengths, but then also like addressing the areas that they need to.
Yeah. Well, I think for sure, like play to your strengths. Like, um, I don't know. There's like that's what makes everyone's dancing like unique. If we all just like tried to become perfectly well-rounded, we'd all be doing the exact same thing the exact same way.
Hmm.
Um, so like yeah, I have a lot of like front clicks and rhythm in all my dances. Those are like things that like I've like established that I like am more natural at. But I think also like play to your natural strengths, but like build new strengths. Like
Yeah.
try to build up the things you're not as good at. Like I have like a lot of like blocks in my dance. That was not ever something that came natural or like I've maybe turned my feet out a little more than I used to. Not
You
something that came
you
natural.
did.
Like um, so yeah, obviously like you can't just only play to your strength. Be like, oh well, I'm never good at these, so I'm just like never gonna do it. Like,
Hmm.
because that's not gonna get you anywhere. But also don't just not do the things you're good at.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a really interesting thing to sort of like keep in mind because I think there's definitely in Irish dancing, like we don't have like a specific like I don't know what you would call it, like curriculum, I guess the way ballet does or whatever, like where there's like a very like laid out way of exactly how you're supposed to do things, but like
Mhm.
there is sort of like a common understanding of like certain aspects of technique that we have, like
Yeah.
turnout, crossing, like your posture, all that stuff. Like I think we all do to a quite a strong extent have like we're in agreement on like what those things are supposed to look like. But there is some like leeway, which I think is cool about Irish dancing. Like, and I think maybe people being able to balance that of like, okay, I need to get my like turnout to an adequate level and like once that sort of like that box is ticked, then it's like, okay, then how does this like evolve on me? Like, how do
Hmm.
I then like go beyond this by like playing to my strengths? I think
Yeah.
that's like an interesting thing to just keep in mind. But it's definitely not like like clear-cut science. I'd say it's definitely more of like an art in trying to do that as a dancer
Hmm.
and like as a teacher or somebody like mentoring somebody in there. That's cool. That's interesting. Nice. Well, speaking of like the evolution of dancing, we've been kind of enjoying asking people this towards the end of their episodes, but like if you could change one thing or add something or take something away, I guess, to the competitive Irish dancing experience, what might that be, do you think?
I don't know.
I guess you could just say that you like to keep it exactly how it is, but
I don't know. I wouldn't say, I don't know. I just haven't thought of that before. Um, I think maybe just the whole like, and I get kind of why it has to be like this, but the whole like separation between like schools, especially like representing the same region at something like the Worlds, like why
mm,
can't like we have a whole like Calgary
that
Kaylee
would be
team or like
so
Or
cool.
Canadian Kaylee team?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like the fact like we're not supposed to like practice with other dance schools and whatever, like I think you're still representing the same country, this like some of the same city, some of the same
Mm-hmm.
region, like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, just a little more like collaboration there. But
Yeah.
I also like that
Yeah.
every school offers their own thing, so like keeping it separate, I see
Where,
value in that
yeah,
too. Like,
totally, totally. I think you're could be onto something though. I think that's a cool idea.
yeah.
I love that. Thank you. Well, thanks for joining the podcast. Thanks for the
Yeah,
fun
thanks for
chat.
having
I
me.
think lots of people are going to benefit from a lot of what you had to say. So,
I hope so. Thanks.
well, see you all later on. Thanks for joining us in this episode of the New View podcast. We hope you enjoyed.
If you have any ideas about future guests we should interview or want to connect, you can find us on Instagram at newview.collective or email us at newviewcollective.mm@gmail.com.